In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up business rules on Clarity Blueprints to automatically grant and revoke access rights for specified users. This feature has been introduced in Clarity version 16.3.0 and has come about as a result of a customer innovation idea. This one received enough votes from the user community that Broadcom developed a solution and delivered the update as part of their quarterly release. As part of this demo, I'll take you through some of the administration aspects you should be aware of, then we'll move on to blueprint rules, and finally, we'll get to see our rule in action. So let's start off by going into Classic, where I'm going to show you which type of lookup you should use for your business rule. So under Administration Lookups, I am going to search for the Active Resources browse, and I just have that lookup ID handy to copy and paste. And if I drill down into that lookup, I'd like to draw your attention to the object field. As you can see, this lookup is pointing to the resource object. You'll need to make sure that any lookup you use for auto provisioning of access rights is configured to use the resource object. If you don't use this type of lookup, your access rights will not be updated. Now, let's move on to our object. So I am going to use the project object for this example. You can use any object you wish, just make sure that it is a master object. Over on the Attributes tab, I have a field that I have already created called Finance Partners. And if I drill down on that attribute, you can see that I'm using the Active Resources browse, and we know this lookup is okay for our business rules because it's using the resource object. Okay, so now that we're clear on lookups, objects, and attributes, let's jump back into the modern UX. We are going to go to Administration Blueprints, and we'll search for our blueprint where the type equals project. I'm going to scroll down to the Shared Access Blueprint and click on Edit to place our blueprint into edit mode. Now on the left-hand side, I am going to locate our Finance Partners attribute, and I'm going to click and drag that over into our Stakeholders section. Okay, so now that our attribute is visible on the Properties tab, I'm going to click on Rules, and we'll go ahead and create our business rule by clicking on New Rule. Now, we will need to give our rule a name. You can also give it a description, and this is where you select your target object. So we are going to select Project, and this is where the new option of Security Update is available. Once we select Security Update, we need to select our target resource attribute. So here we will select our Finance Partners. And then once we do that, we can click Add Actions, and there are 3 options available. So we have Grant Rights to New Resource. This will automatically provision access rights to resources when they're added to the specified attribute. Revoke rights from previous resource will remove rights from resources when they're removed from our field. And transfer rights from previous to new resource will revoke rights for resources when they're removed and grant the same rights to resources that are added. Once you choose one of these options, you can then specify the access rights for that rule. Just remember, you can add only 20 rights per rule. Let's start with Grant Rights to New Resource. In this example, we will allow our finance partners to view the project record and to edit the financial plans. So if I click on Add, I will select my project view right. I will give my access for cost plans, so edit and view. Budget plans will do the same, edit and view. And then benefit plans, edit and view. Now let's move on to the revoke access rights. So add actions and revoke. You'll see now that the transfer rights from previous to new resources grayed out. That's because we've already set up the action to grant the rights, so our only option available here is to revoke the rights. Again, I'm going to add the same rights to be revoked, so I will take my project view and then all of my financial plan access. So cost plan, edit and view, budget plan, edit and view, and also our benefit plan, edit and view. Okay, now that our rule has been set up, we can click on Create. We can publish our blueprint. Now it's time to go over to our project and check a few things. So here you'll notice that my website upgrade project has been configured to use our shared access blueprint. And if we drill down into our project record, we can see our finance partners field on the properties page. At this point in time, there are no resources attached to this field. Now, let's log out and log back in as our test finance resource, Sally Smith. If Sally navigates to the project list view, which she's landed on, and searches for the website upgrade project, let's get rid of these widgets, filters. So you can see currently there are no rows to show. We're only looking for active projects, but you cannot see the website upgrade project. Now let's log back in as a user who can update that project record. We will go to our project list view. We will go to our website upgrade project. And we're going to now update our finance partners attribute, and we'll add our finance resource, Sally Smith. Now, let's test out Sally's access one more time. I'm going to log out and log back in as Sally Smith. We can see this time the website upgrade project has dropped in and Sally now has access to the project. If we review the Properties tab, we can see that Sally has access to view these fields, but does not have access to edit. See, as I click around, nothing is able to be edited. This is in keeping with the access rights that we set up on our rule, as we only gave access to view the project. Now, if we click on the Financials tab, we can see that Sally has access to create cost plans. And if we drill down into an existing cost plan, we can see that Sally can also edit. If we go to budget plans, you can see that Sally can edit a budget that is in a submitted state. So I'm just going to bring in the status column. And this is standard Clarity functionality. You cannot ever edit an approved budget, but if a budget is in a submitted state, then that is where you can do your editing. And we can see that Sally has access to edit budgets. And if we go to benefit plans, we can see Sally is able to create new benefit plans. And she can also edit. Start to put in some amounts there. As you can see, the only change we made was to add Sally to our finance partners attribute on the project record. This then triggered our blueprint rule, and Sally was able to access the necessary areas of her Clarity instance. Hopefully this video has helped you to understand the security update rule on Clarity blueprints, and you can now go forward and configure automatic access rights in your own Clarity instance.